of your busy schedules to explore Google resources with Greg Muscat in January. A few minutes late, little technical difficulties there at the beginning. I'm Philippa Arthur, the Learn Captain for Greg Muscat. Once a month, I'll be creating opportunities for you to cultivate your confidence and boost your proficiency with Google Tech for educators. I hope you continue to engage with Greg Muscat as we explore how Google resources can enhance our evolving roles as educators. Today, we are joined by Greg Muscat's Chair Captain, Fatima. She's my tech support for today. So here's our scenario. You're a super busy educator, like when aren't you, who needs to better manage your email attachments and conduct file searches within Google Drive. Some of your students also need a simple presentation, Google Slides, and a more convenient way to document notes, Google Keep. So we're going to delve into Google Drive, Google Slides, and Google Keep. For today's session, you'll need to access your Gmail account, the one point of entry for all apps Google. This is a collaborative learning process we'll be doing together. Okay. I'll stop and respond to your questions periodically, so don't hesitate to put comments or queries in the box. So Google Drive is the hub for all things Google. This is where you can store and access your documents in the cloud. Today, we'll explore how Google Drive can help keep your teaching experience conveniently organized. We're going to learn how to save an email attachment directly to Google Drive, search for files by criteria, search for files using the search box, and definitely work offline. To be able to save an attachment to Google Drive, we actually need to start in your Google account, which is your Gmail account. So what I'm going to do is find an email with an attachment. Here's an old email from Fatima. All that you simply do is hover your mouse over the attachment, and your choices are either to download or add or organize in Drive, which is what we want today. So let's click on that. This little window is going to ask you where in Drive you'd like to save it to. I just want it in my Drive. And that's where it will be sent. So now this attachment will be saved and stored conveniently in the cloud in Google Drive, where it'll be available for retrieval from any device. You can see a ton of other attachments and documents we have here. As you become a more proficient user of Google Drive, you'll probably have to perform a file search at some point. One way to do that is to simply type in a word or a phrase in the search box. So let me play with this a second. I had one here, this your big idea. If I were to take the word just simply idea, Google Drive gives me three choices. Your big idea, and that's the one I want. So I'm going to select that file, and it's as simple as that, to conduct a search within Google Drive using the search box. Okay, I'm going to close this presentation for the time being. Obviously, a search might require that we manipulate criteria. So the drop-down arrow in the search box, there we go, reveals search options, which help to specify elements or criteria of your search, such as type, which essentially refers to your different file types. As you can see, you can search for photos and images, PDFs, Google Docs, spreadsheets, presentations, forms, audio, videos, etc. Also, another criteria is owner. Is the owner owned by me, by anyone? It's not owned, or you can type in a specific person. If you select a specific person, you're given the opportunity to either enter a specific name or an email address. Location, once again, Drive asks you if you would like to conduct the search anywhere within Drive, simply within my Drive, or shared with me. So you're given a couple choices. Obviously, some of this you might be relying on memory because you have to remember where you may have put that file. You can also do trash and starred. Additional criteria include date modified. Maybe you worked on that file yesterday, the last 7 days, or you can put a custom date. Maybe you remember the name or one word from the name of that file. Feel free to type it in the item name. Similar to that is the has the words. In this case, I searched for my file that has idea in it, so that's why you see the word idea. Other criteria include shared with. If you recall sharing a particular file with a particular individual via their name or their email address, you can enter that here. And also follow up. So we're not going to necessarily manipulate anything tonight, but this is just to bring your awareness that you can, you can use a combination of search criteria to help you yield a more specific search result. Okay. And lastly, something you may not be too aware of is that you can actually work on your documents offline. In the top right, you want to select the settings cog. There it gives you settings again. And scroll down to the short list and notice it says offline. You want to make sure that you select the setting offline. I'm going to deselect it for now because I'm in the Get Muscat account, not my own account. Okay. Once you're done with that and you hit done, you will be able to view and edit docs, sheets, slides, and more. Any changes you make will be synced the next time you connect to the internet. So a very quick lesson check. We've just seen how we can save attachment directly from an email message into Google Drive. We've done a search using the search box by just typing in a word, a keyword, and we've taken a look at the different criteria that we can use to manipulate or specify a search. And maybe one of the more exciting things is giving yourself the convenience of working with your documents offline. Okay. So I'm going to continue now with Google Slides. And the way to access Google Slides, like all the other web-based apps that Google presents us with, is obviously through Google Drive. So within Google Drive, you want to select New. You want to go down to Slides. And there you're presented with a choice of a blank presentation or from a template. If you select from a template, you're presented with the Google Template Gallery. And you would pick a template that's appropriate for your project. This month, I'm working with a recipe showcase template because the students are presenting recipes. And there is our template. So remember, templates are already preloaded with overall design elements and placeholders that you can manipulate and personalize. In anticipation of tonight's presentation, I already have my presentation going. So this is what we'll be working with. Don't forget, one of the first things you want to do is to name your document. Mine is simply named for tonight's presentation. However, you would give this an appropriate name based on your project. So what can you do with slides? Anything that you can do with PowerPoint. You can customize your slides. Let's start with manipulating some text. Firstly, not necessarily the correct spelling of Ali. Let's go with the version. And we typically see this as one word. So it's as simple as that to make adjustments to text. Let's manipulate some of our images. You can add images, you can insert images, delete images, resize them, anything you would like to do with your image. So, let's go to slide number 2. It says ingredients, but clearly this is not the most appropriate image to represent ingredients for a dessert. So if you select your image, notice there's a button up here that says replace image. So let's replace this image with something a little bit more appropriate. To go back to my folders, oops. And not working for me right now. Nice little technical difficulties. It says not responding. So I'm going to click away from that and see what happens. I do not want to say close the program because yep. All right. Let me see if I can just get back into that. All right, here we go. I'm sorry about that. Let's try one more time. So our image is selected. I'll just talk you through it, and this is something you'd have to play with on your own. Replace image, select the replace image, and just go to upload from computer. You can navigate to the folder you have the appropriate images and upload them from your computer. So we would have changed this particular image on slide number 2. Similarly, on slide number 3, this is a pizza being made. It doesn't really show the method of making Ali. So this image would have also been changed. And on slide number 4, everything is appropriate for our Ali recipe, except for this little element here in the top left. I don't really want that. So I'm going to go ahead and simply delete it. All you do is click on it. You can go up to edit and click on cut. And as easy as that, that element is removed from your slide. Now, let's talk about a background. Let's go back to the first slide. Clearly, this background is more of a Halloween background, nothing to do with a delicious dessert that Ali is. So we would want to adjust the background. So similarly, you would click on your background, right there, and you would go through the same steps. You would do replace image. Let's see if it's working. Nope, it might be working. Yes, it is. Yay, hang on 1 second. It's working, it's working. Okay, and I'm going to change the background to something that looks more dessert friendly. There we go. Our background is changed. Let me go back to slide number 2. One more time. How do we replace an image? Select the image, select replace image, upload from computer, and choose your picture. Here I go. There are my baking ingredients. There we go. A much more appropriate image. Same thing on slide number 3. Select the image, replace image, upload from computer, and we have a nice young baker here. Let's add her in. Lovely. We can also delete slides. Well, we don't really need slide 3 since slide 2 is going to include ingredients and method. So delete a slide, you select the slide, you can go up to edit and cut. And now let's insert a slide. I'm going to insert this slide after slide number 3. Sorry. So you go on up and you select slide and you do new slide. But now we have this blank, boring slide, not doing much for us. Let's change the background. Sorry, not this one. Why don't we include another visual? This time, a video. So select Insert, Video, and from within Google itself, from within Slides, you're presented with a search bar for YouTube. And I'm going to type in Ali dessert. And we're going to click on Search. And there we are presented with quite a few video choices. Let's pick one that's short just for tonight's demonstration purposes. How about this one? It's only 3 minutes. Simply select the video you would like and hit select. And by the magic of all things Google, this video has now been inserted in slide 4 into your presentation. Okay. So after you've done all of this wonderful customizing, definitely you would want to present your slide deck. And that's a very straightforward thing. Simply go up, top right, and there is the present button. And you have choices. You can get a presenter view. For those of you who also write notes to accompany your slides, that's what the presenter view would give you. Or you could simply present from the beginning of your slide deck. And if you prefer to use keyboard shortcuts, you also have that choice. So designing a slide deck from within Google Slides, it's a very easy and fun thing to do. And if you haven't tried it, you should give it a try. One of the last things we're going to look at tonight, whoops, I'm forgetting. So let's do our lesson check for Google Slides. So we've learned how to access Google Slides. We have taken the time to design and customize our slides by manipulating images, inserting videos, changing text. We've looked at how we can present the slide deck. One more thing we forgot, sorry, my fault, how to share. It's the same with most of the Google apps. Nice big share button in the top right. And as usual, you can select the share button and enter either the email address or the person you would like to share it with, as well as decide what type of access you would grant them. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our look at Google Slides. So let's move on to Google Keep, which is a web-based note-taking application. I think a lot of people are actually unfamiliar with Google Keep, but this is one of the most awesome mini apps. I am a heavy-duty user of Google Keeps. So how do we access Google Keeps? We're going to create a note, format that note, and of course, share the note. You would pop into your Google Drive, and where it has your Google Apps, and you get all of the Google Apps displayed. There, if you keep scrolling, there's your choice for Keep. And you would select Keep, and it will open up a new window for you. In anticipation of tonight's presentation and to coordinate with our Ali recipe slide deck, I have already created a Google Keep note. However, if you're starting from scratch, Take a Note immediately invites you to start a new note with a new list, a new note with drawing, or a new note with image. So if you were to click on it, it gets you started on a new note, and that's it. You've just created a new note. So let's take a look at the one that I've already started with for tonight. Believe it or not, you can actually format these notes as well. So once again, you can manipulate the image. This is from the art students last month. So we definitely need to change this image. So if you go down to the bottom here, let me hide this, there we go. It has add image. Firstly, let me remove this image. Select add image, and it's Ali. So where is our Ali? There we go, there's our pudding. Much more appropriate image. Give it a moment. And you know what? It's so good, let's add a second image. So let me go back and grab the second pudding image. Now we actually have two. So your note can actually accommodate a few images. All right, let's work with the text again. So yes, you can go ahead and manipulate text. Let's fix that spelling. That Ali is such a phonetic spelling. So there we have, we've changed the spelling. We can also turn some of our subheadings into all caps. Method. Oops. And what else? Utensils. Okay. So, and put all caps. Let's reorder items. Digital scale is definitely not an ingredient. So just grab that little placeholder all the way on the left, and you're going to move that down underneath utensils. Sugar is an ingredient, so are this is slivered. Wrong word. S-L-I-V-E-R-E. Slivered almonds. Once again, grab the placeholder, bring it up under ingredients, and our utensils are in the correct place. One other thing you can do here is actually indent. So if you grab the placeholder next to sugar and move it in, you get to indent. Same thing with digital scale. Grab the placeholder, move it in to the right, indent. Really awesome. And this background color, a little bit boring for such a delicious looking dessert. So let's swap the background color. If you go down to the bottom of your note, you can change color. There's a little palette icon. And because they're pistachios sprinkled on the final product, let's go with a light green. That looks much more attractive. Okay. So how do you share a keep note? Well, again, in the bottom tray, there's your collaborator button conveniently located. And similarly, as in the other Google apps, if you select collaborator, you will simply select the email address of whomever you'd like to share your note with. And collaborating or sharing your note with someone else would be as easy as that. And you close your note, it's automatically saved. So we accessed Google Keep via Google Drive. We created a note, and today's note coordinated with our Google slide deck recipe. We formatted and customized our note by manipulating the images and text and background color. And ultimately, we shared our note. So today, we explored Google Drive, Google Slides, and Google Keep. Don't forget to explore more of the resources that Google has put at your disposal. You have many more beyond the ones we looked at today. Remember to complete our survey. Muscat definitely wants to be an effective resource for Oman's educators. So fill out that survey so we can see what you're thinking and we can get feedback directly from you. The link should be available to you in the comment section. Thank you once again for joining us. It's January. I haven't presented since last year, 2020. Do reach out to us via social media, Twitter, YouTube, and even by simple, good old-fashioned email, getmuscat@gmail.com. If you have specific comments for the learn, then try to put learn in the subject line. Okay. Thank you very much. I will see you next month. That's it for today.